JJJinks!
Truck Stop Knives!
JJJinks! Truck Stop Knives! Good evening, everybody. It's been a long time. I am recording here in my new creepy-ass basement. What do you think? I got asbestos pipes, all kinds of insects. This place is great. I'll give a full tour in another video. So I moved about a week and a half ago, and I'm still moving the old house, but I wanted to take a break from unpacking and moving and cleaning to make a video because it's been a couple of months, and I knew I was going to be basically on hiatus while I was going through all this, and so I wanted to make a video. Well, I have pretty much made a video, but I needed to make an introduction for it, and I kept a small collection of knives in a bag, and I left it at the old house. So I'm not going to make that video today. So I was trying to think of an excuse for like, what can I film? I got to show off my new basement. So as I was unpacking, I found this box. Now this box comes from my mother's house in Florida, and the story is that I'll just start at the beginning. When I was a dumb kid, I did some stupid and bad things. I'm not proud of it. And basically, there was this guy that lived down the street from me, and his parents were away for the weekend. So a couple other of my buddies and I decided, hey, let's go over and like have some unmoderated fun that little kids like to have, and while we were like teenagers. Anyway, and there was alcohol in the house. Now, this kid was paranoid, so he's like, yeah, we're gonna drink booze, it's gonna be great. And then we get there and he's like, well, we can't take much, they'll notice. And I gotta backfill it with water. If I do too much of that, they'll notice too. So we basically just got a blender, threw in a bunch of ice, and made these drinks, and started just scooping this concoction into cups. So we all got cups, basically mostly ice, which melted and diluted everything. So I didn't feel anything. I wasn't sure. I had never drank before. But my friend Soup Master, on the other hand, he got the last of the pitcher, which was just poured in, and it was mostly booze, and it had very little ice. So he got kind of fucked up. But it was a fun time. We did some stupid shit. I mean, pretty innocent for the most part, except I stole something. So one of the things we did was we went through the house just like opening drawers and exploring. Like, not having adults around just kind of makes you want to do whatever, shit like that. And I spotted this knife, and I decided I wanted it. So I stole it. Jason Baska, if you happen to watch this video, I still have this thing. If you want it back, I'll give it to you. I know it was your dad's, and apparently his dad is like, I don't know, a prepper or something. So the house was actually full of like knives and guns and hunting shit. Luckily, we did not find any guns. He later said he was kind of surprised that we didn't. He was like kind of complicit. He was like, yeah, go through my dad's shit. I don't care. No excuse. I am a thief. So then, when I went to college in 2002, my mother ended up moving a couple of times, and all of my stuff, all my childhood stuff, just got thrown into boxes, and a lot of it was lost, or so I thought. And I was like, I remember having this knife. I remember having this Death Star, which we'll talk about soon. Where is all this stuff? There's all this great stuff that I remember having when I was a kid, and now it's gone. Well, I found it like 2 years ago in a shed, which I was told nothing in there is mine. It was. So I put a little box together, and I was visiting Florida by car. I drove back to my home in New Jersey, and I put the box in my garage, and it sat for 2 years until last week when I moved. So now I was sitting up in my room like 30 minutes ago thinking, I kind of want to make a video. And so I'm unpacking, got my Death Star. I knew that was in the box. And I looked down in the bottom of the box, and there's this knife. I'm like, oh, shit, there it is. And that was a really amazing moment because I do have other knives that I had when I was that age, just not this one. I don't know why this one was separated. So it sat in my mom's shed for like, I don't know, probably like 15 years. And, well, it is now unsheathed. It's a pretty basic looking knife. It's got a black plastic handle, it's a fixed blade, it is stainless steel, and it's made by a company called Imperial. Now, I didn't know anything about this blade, and I didn't have a reason to look it up, but now I kind of do, because I wasn't a knife collector back then. I only started collecting knives probably like 4 years ago. So I just looked around the internet a little bit. I spent maybe 10 minutes doing it, but I found a lot of interesting things out about this knife. So it's stamped Imperial Ireland Stainless, and on the handle, there's also an Imperial logo with a symbol on it. The sheath is actually really nice. It's nice, supple, thick leather. It holds its shape, and the knife just slides in beautifully. Hear that satisfying sound, huh? That's good. Anyway, so it turns out that the Imperial Knife Company was founded in the early 1900s, and it was actually based out of Rhode Island, but they had a plant in Ireland where this knife was made. The Imperial Company, I think in the 70s, merged with Schrade, and so there are still knives that are called or marked Imperial Schrade, and they stopped putting the Imperial logo on all their knives in 1988. So this knife is as old as my little brother. It's 31 years old. That's pretty much everything there is to say about it. The blade's a bit rusty, but man, it is sharp. After all these years, and I don't know what I did to it, but it's dirty as hell. I got to clean this thing up. But from looking around blade forums, people were saying like, yeah, these knives are actually kind of cheap. They're not necessarily constructed very well. I don't think this is full tang. The handle feels really light. But they love the steel. They're like, but Imperial made really good steel. So I will give this back if Jason Baska asks for it. But I'd like to keep it. And like I said, I'm not proud of stealing this. I was bad. But in all likelihood, it would have been gone by now. So I'm going to take a page from the Brits, who pillaged basically the entire world and said, well, hey, if we didn't steal your statues and your columns and whatnot, then they probably would have gotten destroyed in some war. So now we should be able to keep it, right? Righto. Anyway, Death Star. This was one of the things that I lost and then found again, and I was happiest about it because this thing is awesome. It's made by Micro Machines. It was like a whole Star Wars, Star Trek Micro Machine thing they did back in the 90s. And what's really cool about this particular thing is that it has a little flipper tab here, and the whole thing opens up into Tatooine. And I got all the little figures and stuff that go in here in another box somewhere else. But isn't that awesome? God, that's so satisfying. Let's have a tour. I'll try to keep the lighting as best as I can. It's a creepy ass basement. The lighting is basically bare light bulbs. But anyway, let's start in the desert. Now with better lighting. So one of the things I really like about these old Micro Machines transformable things is there's so much detail molded into the plastic. They use stickers. Everything has something going on. So we'll start out here by the Baru Moisture Farm, where there's this little trenchway that, if you remember from the movie, I think there was a shot in here like Luke ran out of this door, and I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. But here we have the evaporator units, and there's what looks like a landmine. I forgot what that is. And then a door. Sorry about the shadow. And when we come up here, you'll see a couple of things going on. So we have a button here when you push it, this thing pops up. I really don't know what that is. There's also a little thing here that rotates. And if I can spin it around, you have what appears to be the burnt dead bodies of Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. So that's a nice feature. And if we go inside of the home, which this, I believe, it flips this way. And you see there's a round table with a bunch of food on it, probably some blue milk. Oh, and these stickers are like coming off. I'm gonna leave them in there. Maybe I'll have to put some more adhesive. And that's the Skywalker Ranch. If we continue out into the desert and go up this way, we'll see a pile of pipes. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but like I said, they use the real estate very well here. And there's I believe that is a dewback. A couple of stormtroopers hanging out in front of that toilet. Oh, that's a screw. Okay, so that's like not a toilet, but I thought it was. That's weird. There's that famous red door. And then we go up the stairs and continue our way up the desert. And it's a little dark in here, but you can see stormtroopers and Jawas checking things out, knocking on the doors, moving along if no one answers. And those are all stickers. We continue up the stairs, and I believe we are in Mos Eisley. There's the band. I used to know what their name was, but I totally forgot. I'm such a bad Star Wars fan today. And you got some tables with some drinks, possibly more blue milk, so you can enjoy the songs. And over here is just a little romantic alcove with Hammerhead and Muftak. Is that the one in the middle? And then the bald one. I'm going to piss off a lot of Star Wars fans. And over here you've got... it's hard for me to see because, like, I'm watching it through the phone, but I think that might be Dr. Evison. And I can't really tell anything else. But there's the actual bar. It'd be kind of cool to paint this place up a little, like the drinks and stuff. And then more sticker drinks and seats. So anyway, after a night of drinking, we're stumbling along out into the desert, and we come across sand raiders. And sand people, rather. Jesus, I'm awful. I'm awful. And when you push this button, they pop up and ambush you. Shot from the other direction because I'm not sure how much detail they put into this guy. If it'll focus. So anyway, just another cool little thing. You push on this parking cone, and if you survive your ambush, we all remember the sandy ramp that takes you up into the Death Star. And well, they got some of the classic lighting. There's a couple more stormtroopers hanging out back there. Those like sort of slotted lights. Pretty cool. Now we can go inside, and ooh, it's dusty. And we got a few things going on. There's a door opening with some stormtroopers shooting at you. And there's some more stormtroopers with that room that has like the red panels on the wall. There's this plastic thing, which I'll talk about in a second because it does do something. That actually looks like the corridor from the shield generator on Endor. Am I wrong about that? The garbage chute on the right, maybe? There? Well, whatever. And up at the top, we have this neat little spacescape with Tatooine, I think. So, yeah, we were just down here, and now, I don't know. Micro Machines took a lot of liberties from reality, I guess. And you can see a couple Star Destroyers, some TIE Fighters. And now this thing was actually, these plastic pieces have pegs on them, and this rotates. And they made spaceships from Star Wars and Star Trek, and you could like put them on there, and it was sort of like it's a space battle. Yeah. Now this one does something kind of cool. It's kind of a lever, and it's when you close it, it slides up and pokes out through here, and it's got another spaceship peg on it. And so you can put like the Millennium Falcon there, and when you close it, it looks like the Falcon is like flying around the Death Star, not to scale. And there's also this other piece of plastic with a peg on it. And I think what happens, yeah, there's this little door that you can open up, and then you can push out your spaceship like it's ready to leave. Put a Star Destroyer or something on that one. All of my other Star Wars Micro Machines, I got some Star Trek ones too, are still down in Florida. I just wanted to keep this piece safe. So this is the Micro Machines Transformable Death Star. Well, thanks for hanging out in my new creepy ass basement. Got the radon thing over there. And I really love this house. It's a great house. It's almost 100 years old, but it's got good bones. It's got new appliances. I'm a happy man. And until next time, this has been, I can do this really loud now, JJJinks! Truck Stop Night!